Chapter 1: The Cosmic Clock. Imagine a world where time is not as straightforward as ticking seconds and days passing by. Picture this: every 12,000 years, history itself hits a reset button, and life restarts, with no memory of what came before. It's like a great cosmic clock turning over its hourglass, wiping clean the slate of human existence. In this place, where time loops every 12,000 years, people grow, learn, and wonder just as we do today. They gaze at the same stars and walk the lands that bear our footprints, yet they belong to fresh tales, untouched by the stories of the past. This unique concept began as a whisper in the wind to a humble farmer named Eli, who lived near lush, green hills. Life was simple for Eli. He tended his crops, watched the seasons change, and loved the earth for all it gave him. One day, as the sun began setting in fiery oranges and reds, Eli felt a strange pull. His shadow stretched longer, as if trying to guide him somewhere new. Eli listened to the earth beneath him, a habit he had whenever he felt lost or unsure. The ground spoke in vibrations, subtle yet persuasive, tugging at some deep part of him. It was as if the world itself had a secret it wanted him to uncover. So, despite the coming darkness, Eli followed the echoes of the soil up the hill beside his farm. As Eli reached the top, the evening sky spread open a sea of twinkling stars. It was a sight he had seen 1,000 times, yet that night they seemed to sing a different song. The constellations shifted slightly, moving in a pattern Eli had never noticed. It was like they traced a story across the heavens, revealing a cycle, a clue to something hidden from the eyes of those below. Eli pondered this sight for several nights, each one unveiling more of this celestial tale. Sitting on that hill, he scanned the heavens, piecing together the grand design they hinted at. One night, an idea struck him with the shock of cold water. Perhaps these stars were part of a cosmic signal, marking the passage of time in a sense, far beyond his simple life. As Eli pondered this, he recalled old tales his grandfather had shared around the fire, with all the children seated eagerly at his feet. Stories of civilizations long forgotten, buried under the weight of time yet vibrating with life beneath the surface. Perhaps these peoples had discovered the very secret Eli felt he was on the brink of understanding, a dance with the stars, a song of time, beginning anew with every turn of the wheel. Eli wasn't quite sure what to do with this newfound idea. He couldn't keep it to himself, for the secret was too big, and its implications too vast. He needed to share it, to see if others felt the same pulse in the earth, the same shift in the cosmos. So, he began speaking to anyone who would listen: his family, the villagers at the market, the travelers passing through. Some laughed kindly, thinking Eli had simply been too long in the sun, but others paused, brows furrowed in thought, feeling in Eli's words the faint echo of something they, too, could not quite name. Through many conversations, something amazing began to unfold. A few villagers, those who had long sensed this undercurrent of mystery, joined him on his nightly vigils atop the hill. The group grew, learning together the language written in the stars. Eli and his companions started crafting devices to track the star paths and recording stories, dreams, and discoveries to ensure their knowledge was shared, not lost with each dawn. As they delved deeper, a wondrous idea took shape. What if these cycles of time, this reset, were not something to fear but to embrace? If history indeed reset itself, knowing this might enable them to gift the future with echoes of their wisdom and love. It was like planting a seed before a winter's snow, trusting it to sprout in the warmth of new springs. Eli and his newfound community spent days, weeks, and years sketching the design of an incredible device, like a massive clockwork sculpture made from stone, copper, and any materials they could find. This giant mechanism stood as a testament to their shared beliefs. Though it was rudimentary, each cog and wheel turned with purpose, aimed at capturing the flow of time as it wove through their lives, a monument not only to their present understanding, but to all those who would walk the earth long after. The creation of this marvel was more than a measure of time. It became the heartbeat of their community, a gathering place where people shared stories, learned, and wondered together about the nature of existence. It stood as a guiding star for future generations, a beacon of hope that whether time reset or not, their spirit and discoveries would light the way. In the end, it was not so much the invention itself that mattered most, but the journey Eli and his friends took in building it. They had found connection in each other and with the vastness of time itself. As continued its cycles, Eli knew that while individuals might be forgotten, the heart of humanity, the quest for understanding, love, and connection would always remain, waiting to pulse again into the world like the beating of a resilient drum. Chapter 2, 12 Millennia Loop. Once upon a time, in a world not so different from the one we know, there was a peculiar secret woven into the very fabric of existence. It was a secret kept hidden from the people living their cycle, a loop that spanned 12,000 years. Every time this period ended, the world would reset and history would begin anew, as if the slate had been wiped clean. The most curious part was that no one seemed to remember the world before the last reset. Everything and everyone was erased, leaving behind only their essence, ready to start all over again, with no memory of the past loops. In this world, people lived their lives completely unaware of what had come before. They built cities, formed societies, discovered wonders of science, and even explored the stars, just like we do. They laughed and cried, loved and lost, all within the grand play of life that the universe had kept spinning. For most, life was about the present, about building a future as bright as they could possibly imagine, without knowing there was an invisible clock ticking down, ever so quietly, to the next reset. Yet, every now and then, scattered like gems along the tapestry of time, were those who, without knowing why, felt a deep, unshakable sense of déjà vu about the world. These individuals believed things were not as they appeared and spent their lives in search of the underlying truth they could never quite find. They tried to piece together fragment dreams, visions, words on ancient tablets, and whispers carried by the winds, hoping to crack the eternal enigma. Even though their efforts seemed in vain, they felt a profound connection to something far larger than themselves, as if they were meant to change the cycle somehow. There was a small town nestled beside a great, silent forest, where a young girl named Mara lived. She often wandered through the trees, her mind full of thoughts and dreams most children her age could never even begin to grasp. The forest was her sanctuary, a place full of magic and mystery where she could escape the ordinary world. One day, while wandering deeper than ever before, she came across an ancient stone well, hidden away and covered with moss. The very sight of it stirred something in her heart, as if she had seen it countless times before. Despite the impossibility of it, intrigued by the strange feeling, Mara lingered, tracing her fingers over the carvings that spiraled across the stone. The symbols looked familiar, though she had never learned their meaning. She closed her eyes, and a flood of images surged through her mind. Cities of strange design, oceans from above, stars blinking in alien arrangements, and people, so many people with faces both familiar and foreign. In that moment, a gentle whisper echoed in her thoughts. Remember. Over time, Mara found herself returning to the well repeatedly, each visit revealing more of the secret world locked away inside her head. Like a book whose pages turned ever so slowly, she began to keep a journal, writing down the visions, the stories, and the strange dreams that haunted her nights. Her little book quickly filled with drawings of forgotten lands, stories of people from different ages, and ideas both wonderful and terrifying. But no one in town believed a word of it. To them, Mara's stories were nothing more than the fantastical imaginings of a young girl with an overactive imagination. But then, as the 12th millennium drew closer to its inevitable close, other people around the world began to feel hints of the spectral world Mara had glimpsed. Dreams grew more vivid, and the air seemed charged with anticipation. Something was happening, something even the most learned minds could not explain. Scientists noticed peculiar changes in the natural order, animals behaving oddly, and the earth itself seemed to tremble with the weight of what was coming. Mara, knowing that these were signs, tried desperately to share what she felt and what she knew with those she loved. She wanted them to understand the cycle, to see that everything was connected, that everything would begin again. Her friends listened with wonder and confusion, trying to grasp the abstract pictures she painted with her words. Some dismissed her, but some, just a few, felt the truth behind her visions resonate deep within their own souls. In the final days leading up to the reset, the world seemed to hold its breath. It was as if all creation paused, waiting for the next chapter to be written in the eternal history. On the very last night, Mara stood by the old well, pondering her glimpses of what might come after, with a quiet determination that had fueled many before her. As the dawn light touched the horizon, the world as Mara knew it slipped away, blurring into a haze of light and shadow. She felt an overwhelming sense of peace, believing that whatever role she played in the unending loop, it mattered. And so it was that the great cycle ended, only to begin anew. The world reset, and life continued on, unaware, untainted by the memories of what had been and what would one day be. The sun shone down on a familiar yet different landscape where, once more, people started to build, to dream, and to discover all over again. In a small corner of the world, a place not unlike a town we might recognize, a girl might once again find a hidden well, feel a whisper on the wind, and begin her own search for the timeless truth of what lies beyond the 12,000-year loop. Chapter 3: Echoes of Time. Imagine a world where people have lived through countless stories, tales tucked away in the deepest corners of history. In this world, every 12,000 years, something extraordinary happens. Time doesn't flow as it should, but starts over. It wipes the slate clean, leaving nothing behind, or so it seems. And as the cycle begins anew, the past isn't entirely forgotten. It lingers in the form of echoes, whispers of what once was. In this strange cycle, people live out their lives, blissfully unaware that their world has been built on the foundations of previous ones. They carry on, building homes, forming communities, exploring and creating. To them, this is all new and exciting. They don't see the patterns or know that these things have happened before. But sometimes, in those quiet, solitary moments, they feel an inexplicable sense of déjà vu, a nagging familiarity that they can't quite place. There's a small village by a lazy river, nestled in a valley surrounded by towering, green hills. Here, the people go about their days, planting crops, tending to animals, and raising families. Life is simple, and the pace is gentle. It's a place untouched by the worries of the wider world, a place where time seems to slow down. Children play by the water, skipping stones and chasing after brightly colored butterflies, their laughter echoing across the meadow. One of the villagers, an elderly man named Amos, often sits by the riverbank. He's well respected in the village, not only because of his age and wisdom, but because he seems to possess a calmness that others find comforting. His eyes, though clouded with the haze of countless sunrises, still sparkle with an understanding of things beyond what anyone else sees. Amos is known for telling stories. His tales, woven with strands of history and imagination, captivate all who listen. Yet, they are more than mere entertainment. Some say that he remembers things, pieces of a time long past. But Amos simply smiles when asked how he knows these stories, giving nothing away. One evening, as the orange sun dips below the hills and day gives way to the cool embrace of night, the village gathers around the large bonfire that crackles with life. It's a time of celebration, a moment to come together and share laughter and warmth. As the firelight dances, casting playful shadows, the villagers turn to Amos, eager for one of his tales. He nods quietly, taking a moment to gather his thoughts. His eyes drift to the sky, where the first stars begin to peek through the deepening blue. He begins his story with a soft voice that rises and falls like the river's flow. He speaks of a city made entirely of shining glass, towering into the sky, shimmering like a star on the horizon. Of people who rode on the wings of birds made of metal, and sang to each other across great distances without ever seeing each other. The villagers listen, eyes wide, as Amos paints pictures in their minds of a world so vastly different from their own. The echoes of the past, Amos seems to suggest, linger in dreams and stories. Each story he tells, each dream shared in hushed whispers, is perhaps a reflection of what once was and what might be again. In the stillness of night, it's easy to imagine these things were real, that among them are those who lived through such times. The villagers ponder his words, feeling a strange blend of excitement and melancholy. There is comfort in the idea that life continues, that time itself has threads connecting one era to another. They feel a part of something greater than themselves, woven into a vast tapestry of existence. As the night wears on, the villagers slowly drift away, drawn to the warmth of their homes and the promise of tomorrow. The fire's embers glow softly, mirroring the stars above. Amos remains by the fire, his thoughts wandering like the river's gentle current. He doesn't have all the answers, nor does he claim to, but he holds on to the echoes of those 12,000 years gone by, cherishing their lessons and mysteries. Maybe, one day, others will remember too, without even knowing from where such memories come. The world will move forward, as it always does. In 12,000 more years, the cycle will begin anew, and new echoes will fill the air. Perhaps, among those future generations, will be another old storyteller, sitting by another fire, sharing tales of wonder and awe, and humanity will carry on, hand in hand with the forever locked in a dance of remembrance and rediscovery. For now, in this moment, the world is at peace, the village rests, and the river whispers its secrets to the night, forever flowing toward the endless sea. Chapter 4: Rebirth of Civilizations. Have you ever thought about the world if every civilization ended and began anew every 12,000 years. It's strange to think about, like hitting a huge reset button over and over again. Imagine living in a world where every structure, every piece of technology, and every bit of knowledge gets erased or lost after a massive clock winds down to zero. Yet, despite such resets, people must survive in some special way, don't they? In this mysterious cycle, history doesn't follow a straight line, moving from ancient times seamlessly into modern wonders. Instead, it loops back over itself, bending and turning like a winding road. Imagine for a second that at the end of these epochs, people face powerful events or changes in nature that wipe the slate clean. The skies might rain fire, the earth might shake with fury, or the waters may rise swiftly, covering all in their path. Whatever the reason, everything that society's built gets washed away, leaving just a few survivors who perhaps hide in caves or sail to distant, untouched lands. As humans endure these massive resets, they begin again, sowing the seeds of society with what little they remember or pass down in whispers around campfires. Narratives of previous ages become legends or myths, swimming in the waters of imagination and memory. But just like the roots of an old tree that run deep underground, the remnants of old wisdom linger in their minds. In the early days of starting over, life is hard and simple. Many folks gather in small groups or bands, hunting, gathering, and slowly figuring out farming again. Some may stumble upon the buried fragments of ancient cities with their blocks of weathered stone and tools, turning these mysterious treasures into rooftops or weapons. In these fledgling years, everyone works together, sharing goods and helping each other survive the harsh new world outside. Over time, people begin to rediscover the joys of art and music, painting pictures on walls and crafting instruments from wood and bone. These songs and stories, full of adventure and heartache, help everyone remember their shared past, even if they can't quite recall the details. Perhaps one day, a parent softly sings an old lullaby, and the haunting tune inspires a child in ways they may not understand until many years later, as more people spread out and form villages, then towns. The pace of life quickens like a busy bee buzzing from flower to flower. People start trading goods, sharing knowledge about growing food, weaving clothes, or building shelters. Some brave souls set off on long journeys, crossing mountains and deserts to find others or to see what lies over the horizon. Trade routes appear, connecting distant lands, allowing cities to rise as new hubs of culture and commerce. Here, in bustling markets and lively at festivals, folks haggling over goods exchange stories, ideas, and dreams. Smart thinkers emerge, looking at the world with fresh eyes, asking big questions like why are we here? Or what lies beyond the stars? Discoveries about numbers, stars, and even the human body are made again, piece by piece, as curious minds and open hearts search for answers. Thus, yet another wave of enlightened thinking spreads like ripples in a pond with each new era. These people strive not just to rebuild what was lost, but to refine it, to make things better than before. They may build long bridges of stone over rivers, invent clever machines to make work easier, or craft stunning works of art to admire and inspire. Resilient spirits drive progress forward, seeking not just to survive, but to thrive. And along the way, people make mistakes, as has happened time and time again. But, importantly, they learn from them, weaving those lessons into the fabric of society like bright threads in a tapestry. Such mistakes, whether small or grand, offer the stepping stones to greater knowledge and deeper understanding. In this way, the world around them sparkles with new life at the beginning of each cycle. Lush forests reclaim stone ruins, wrapping them in thick vines as birds nest among the crumbling remains. New civilizations spring up like wildflowers in a meadow, each vibrant and unique, writing their own stories on the vast pages of time. Deep connections grow between communities and individuals, nurtured by a shared belief in something greater than themselves. People come to understand that, even though they might have different customs or speak in different tongues, everyone shares a profound desire to be loved, to belong, and to leave a legacy for those who follow. The wonder of it all is that even with the world resetting itself like clockwork, this enduring dance of humanity goes on. There's a hope and a promise tucked inside every ending, whispering that fresh beginnings are always just beyond tomorrow's dawn. The aching beauty of such cycles reminds everyone that life's true charm lies not just in the destination, but in the journey itself. And so, people move forward, crafting the tools of their time, drawing from their past, and ever dreaming of what might lie ahead. Chapter 5: Ancient Anomalies. Imagine this: every 12,000 years, everything starts all over again. History resets, buildings crumble, written words fade, and people have to begin from scratch. It's as if a giant hand wipes the slate clean, and we have to start drawing our story all over again. In this world, every lesson learned and each achievement made could vanish unless some trace was left behind. It's an idea that's both strange and fascinating, isn't it? If we think about it, what strange things might we find in our world today? Pieces from a past we didn't know existed. Is it possible that some ancient mysteries we uncover today are actually leftovers from a world long gone? There are all sorts of odd things that don't quite fit into how we understand history. Imagine stumbling upon a cube made of a metal knot found on Earth, or discovering a map that shows the world as it was before anyone thought maps existed. These strange finds might be glimpses into a history that's been lost, a history that hit the reset button thousands of years ago. Of course, many people might say it's just a coincidence, or claim that we don't know enough yet to say for sure. Yet, isn't it fun to think that maybe, just maybe, they are the breadcrumbs of a much older story? Think about those giant stone heads on Easter Island. We know they were carved by ancient people, but how did they move such massive rocks, such great distances? And what about the pyramids, not just in Egypt, but in other parts of the world too? How were such incredible structures built with the technology they had back then? Some folks would say it was genius engineering and a lot of hard work, but in our scenario, maybe these are the remnants of an earlier civilization, a people who knew secrets that were lost after the reset. Then there are the stories passed down by word of mouth, myths about floods covering the earth, gods who walked among humans, lands that slipped beneath the waves. These remind us of things we can't quite explain. Today, they are tales we tell around campfires or read in ancient books, but could they hold a kernel of truth? What if those stories are echoes from before everything restarted? Blurry memories of a world that got erased and started anew. People have found strange tools and gadgets in places they shouldn't be. Imagine picking up a hammer from a rock that's millions of years old, or seeing a picture of something that looks like a computer in an ancient carving. Some say they're just misinterpretations, that we've got it all wrong. But if history resets every 12,000 years, it's possible these odd things are leftovers from a time unknown to us. Exciting hints of a world that's been forgotten. One of the most curious things to explore is the stars. Those twinkling lights in the night sky have watched over us for eons. If everything resets, have those same stars watched over the world that was here before us? People long ago built stone circles and monuments aligned with the stars. They had a deep understanding of the heavens that almost seems out of place with what we think they should have known. Is it possible they were mapping the skies just like those that came before them, leaving messages for when history hit the reset button once more? Imagine if you lived in such a world, one where every grand city, every new idea, and every cherished memory could one day be erased, yet still striving to leave a mark. Would you carve messages into stone, hide maps, and write stories in ways that might survive the Great Reset, ready to be discovered by the future? Perhaps that's what we're uncovering. No messages written by those before us, hoping their tale, their lessons, wouldn't be lost each time history began again. The thought of resets also makes today feel fragile and precious. What if everything we've built and all we've learned someday became whispers in the wind, with only a few whispers heard by those who come after us? We'd want to hold on to our achievements, share our knowledge, and make sure that when the reset happens, we leave something meaningful behind. Isn't it thrilling to consider? Maybe they are not just random anomalies at all. Instead, perhaps they are keys to understanding the countless versions of history that unfolded before our time. As we discover and piece together these dangling oddities, we might just be exploring a cycle far older than anything we've known. A cycle experienced by those who came before us, who watched as everything started anew. And as history marches on, we'll leave traces of our own, unforgettable marks that will keep the cycle endlessly fascinating for those who come after us. Chapter 6. Forgotten Epochs. Imagine a world where everything starts over every 12,000 years, like a big clock resetting. It's not just the people and places that begin anew, but the entire history is erased and forgotten. A new world emerges, full of fresh chances and paths, with no memories left of the world before. This is the story of how life and humanity adapt to such a cycle, where every epoch tells a brand new tale, and the only constant is change itself. In this strange universe, all the people, plants, animals, and landscapes transform entirely. It's like nature gets a clean slate to write a new story each time. No ruins remain from previous civilizations, no ancient texts or paintings to hint at what once was. The mountains, rivers, and valleys reshape and wind through the lands differently. The skies hold stars in unique patterns, guiding the new folks across freshly charted seas and lands. Even though the timeline of the world resets, somehow life clings on, flourishing anew in unexpected ways. So, how do people and creatures deal with such a reset? Over countless regenerations, they've become experts at living in the moment. Without an ancient past to look back upon, they value the present and make the most of their days. They are not burdened by old fears or superstitions because they don't exist. Instead, they learn from life around them, from changes in the weather, from the whispers of the wind, and the rhythm of the seasons. Knowledge, here, is harvested from the natural world and shared orally, a rich tapestry woven through storytelling, songs, and vibrant traditions that flourish again and again. Society evolves in intriguing ways with every new beginning. The people are as varied and diverse as the landscapes they inhabit. Some prefer to settle and cultivate the land, while others choose a nomadic lifestyle, roaming vast expanses of new territory. Collaborations arise between different groups, fostering innovations that vary with each cycle. Some create magnificent structures reaching towards the sky. Others delve underground, crafting sprawling networks below the earth. Farming methods, artistic expressions, and even languages form and shift, echoing the many ways humans adapt to the fresh world around them. Technology takes on a curious role in a world without permanent history, since there is no cumulative technological progress from one epoch to the next. The inventions and methods are always unique to the current stretch of time. Ingenious solutions arise to fit the needs and challenges of the era. Some might discover the wheel anew and explore its potential, while others might harness the power of the wind or water in ways unseen before. The pursuit of understanding the mysteries of the world does not waver, as each generation is born with an innate curiosity, eager to unravel the workings of nature once more. Creatures of nature adapt quickly as well, evolving with each cycle to suit their environment's demands. Plants grow with resilience, perhaps changing colors or flavors to attract the best pollinators or to better withstand the elements they face. Animals adjust their behaviors and physical traits, wandering through lands that are strange yet somehow familiar. They develop new strategies for survival and create bonds with the people of the time, long-standing companions on this ceaseless journey through the cycles of life. Across these epochs, myths and tales play a significant part in shaping beliefs and guiding actions. Stories passed down through generations capture the essence of each era. Mythical beings and legendary heroes emerge in tales that are rich with the lessons learned from the earth and skies. From failures and triumphs, these stories, though free from the constraints of linear history, carry truths and philosophies that resonate deeply within the people, offering guidance and insight that are both timeless and timely. The knowledge of the sky is something that holds a unique importance. Without a written record, people turn their gaze upwards, honoring the stars and planets that decorate the night. Each generation finds its own patterns in the sky, names new constellations, and ties their fate to celestial bodies. The sky becomes a canvas, telling stories that relate to their lives, offering both perspective and reassurance. This cyclical dance of the cosmos is a comforting constant, offering signals for planting and harvesting, for migrating and resting, across the vastly changing scenery of their lives. In this world of life's endless rebirth, one can ponder the role of memory and the unrecorded nuances it brings. Though physical history vanishes, what remains are the impressions left on hearts, like footprints in the sand that show paths traveled and connections made between kindred spirits. The emotional and spiritual bonds, forged through shared experiences, continue to echo in the actions and kindness shared among the people, shaping societies that might bear no resemblance in structure but are strikingly similar in spirit. In such a cycle of renewal, how do people find balance with the land? They listen closely to nature's wisdom, knowing it is their greatest teacher. Their practices reflect a profound respect for the earth and its rhythms. Whether they fish the riverbanks, hunt in the deep woods, or harvest from the land, they do so with care and consideration, ensuring that the bounty will be bounteous for future generations. This harmony forms the heart of their existence, creating a dance of life that is resilient and peaceful. Even amidst the endless cycle of change, with every reset, as the world reinvents itself, the people within it become masters of adaptation, flexible and resilient. Despite the inevitable amnesia about the past, their lives are full of meaning. carved out by their actions and their connections to everything that surrounds them. Every cycle is new, yet each is woven into the fabric of something much greater, a timeless narrative that defies the absence of history and embraces the power of the now. In these ever-renewing epochs, life flourishes not because it forgets, but because it continually discovers, delights, and endures. Chapter 7. Temporal Puzzles. Imagine a world that works like a giant clock. Every 12,000 years, it ticks back to the start. Everything changes, almost like hitting a reset button on a game. People, animals, cities, and even a beautiful sunset get a fresh beginning as if they never happened before. This is the way of life, but it is not something anyone remembers or sees coming. In this series, we journey through the same cycle over and over. Every cycle has its own unique surprises and mysteries. It's like watching a play or movie where the actors and setting seem familiar, yet the story unfolds differently each time. One of the most fascinating parts of this ongoing reset is how people end up trying to piece together parts of what came before, even if they don't know they are doing it. Imagine someone today, in our current world. They might come across ancient structures, mysterious texts, and strange artifacts. To them, these are puzzles from the past. But in reality, they are pieces left behind by people from the last cycle. Sometimes, they find drawings on walls in hidden caves, showing animals or scenes so vivid and detailed that they can almost imagine the ancient artist who drew them. This person might spend years investigating what these drawings mean. Yet, deep down, they do not realize they are looking at memories from another life, another time. Their curiosity feels like a pulling force, urging them to unravel the secrets of lives once fully lived and then swept away. In villages and towns, stories are told around the fire. Tall tales of times long ago, strange creatures, tall men and women with powers, or lands that could not possibly exist. These stories, passed down from elders to children, seem like mere legends. But sometimes, they hold nuggets of truth. They are whispers from the cycle before. As these resets go on, some things don't change as much. The sun rises and sets, the stars twinkle in the night sky, and the wind blows through fields of grass. It is in these constants that people find a sense of connection. They might wonder, have we seen these stars before? Has this breeze touched our faces in another lifetime? Though simple and unnoticed, these things carry unwritten stories all by themselves. Now and then, someone comes along with an unusual sense. They see patterns in things others might overlook. It could be the way the clouds move on a rainy day, or how certain melodies return over the generations. These odd feelings nag at them. They start asking questions. Could something bigger be at play? Is there a message hidden between the lines of time? Treasures of knowledge emerge. Some people, years ago or far into the future, will dedicate their lives to studying this. They write books, craft theories, and argue passionately. They look at the clues left behind across ages, hoping to understand what keeps happening and why. Every discovery feels like finding a piece of a very big and very old puzzle. Imagine now a curious child, sitting alone with a book that tells tales of the world before her time. As she turns each page, every picture and word sparks questions in her young mind. Why do the pictures look the way they do? Why do old stories make her heart beat faster? Why does she feel a deep connection to the stories, as if she was there once? As the child grows, she might become one of those thinkers, those seekers of truth. Sometimes, the search leads to new findings, sometimes only to more loose ends, making it more thrilling and daunting. But each attempt builds upon those who came before, resembling a bridge reaching forward through the fog of confusion and doubt. Consider what it is like when people come upon big stone structures hidden under vines and earth. These ancient buildings carry marks, signs, and scratches all over. No one truly knows who built them or why. They find old tools made from rocks, beautiful in their simplicity. Whispering the hands that shaped them knew their purpose well. Communities might gather around these strange places, wondering aloud who once stood where they stand. They feel a connection to those forgotten souls, an invisible string across time. They want to know them, understand them, perhaps even send a silent message through time themselves. In each cycle, as everything begins again, there is hope it will be different, even if it never is fully realized. Some people, unknowing, continue the same mistakes, make new creations, and discover insights not previously seen. This ongoing cycle is bewildering. It fascinates and frightens. It holds within the hope that one day they might unveil the great mystery of why everything resets. Until then, the quest for answers, decoding these, drives them forward, one clue at a time. In every reset, in every person's heart, there remains a small hope that somehow, by solving these puzzles, they will find a way to hold on to the past longer, or at the very least, understand its mysteries just a little bit more before it all begins again. Chapter 8. Countdown to Reset. Imagine a world where every 12,000 years, everything turns back to the starting point. All memories, all history, and all signs of life as we know it vanish, like writing washed away by the tides on a sandy beach. That's the world we find ourselves in when the clock winds down, ticking endlessly toward a moment of great change, one that sets the stage for something entirely new. People have lived through many cycles without ever knowing it. From the dawn of ancient times, with their empires and endless quests for greatness, to the rise and fall of cities and civilizations, each has thought itself unique, special, permanent. Yet, with each passing age, old stories have whispered through the winds, secrets etched in stone in forgotten caves, tales preserved by those few with a sense that these cycles are not just stories, but a truth woven into the very fabric of existence. As the countdown begins again, just before the reset, there's an air of mystery, an inexplicable feeling that something immense is around the corner. In the skies, signs appear, a mix of lights, like an ancient celestial dance, aligning stars glimmering brighter than usual. Those who gaze upon them sense a deeper meaning, a message wrapped in starlight that speaks of closure, but also of beginnings. They feel an urge to look beyond the mundane, to ask questions, even as the answers seem ever out of reach. Communities, scattered across the lands, unknowingly begin to prepare. Changes occur that seem small at first, yet carry magnitude. Birds fly in strange formations, animals act with restless anticipation, and even the weather dances to a tune of unpredictability. Something is moving, a gentle, yet persistent force, whispering through the soft rustle of leaves and the murmurs of rivers. Children, with their fresh eyes, often see more than the rest. They notice patterns that adults might brush aside, ebb and flow of life around them, and the solemn notes that begin to hum in the background of their everyday lives. Young ones speak to their elders, creating puzzles out of legends told around crackling fires, while parents smile knowingly, recalling the days they too wondered at the wide, wild world and its hidden truths. In one town, nestled between rolling hills and a river that glides like a silver ribbon, The townsfolk feel the change more intimately. A sense of community grows stronger with each passing day, as if invisible threads bind them closer together. School teachers tell stories of ancient cultures, stirring imaginations with tales from a bygone existence. The children listen with wide eyes, their whispers soft but filled with curiosity. Everything draped in new light. As the nights grow longer, elders begin their own gatherings. They meet in quiet circles, sharing myths passed down through generations that speak of the turning, the flipping of time itself. The knowledge feels heavy and full of wonder, their voices tinged with reverence and a long-kept hope. What if this time they can hold on to something beyond the touch of erasing waves? Each person holds a piece of the puzzle, though none know how to fit it together. Farmers go about their tasks, planting not only seeds but also dreams that reach upward like young vines, stretching toward a sun they have come to appreciate with a renewed tenderness. Every seed, every sprout, holds a promise they hope to keep in their hearts. Each as vibrant as the flowers they aspire to bloom. In the quiet moments, young and old alike find themselves staring at the sky. There's a feeling that comes in silence, a deep sense of calm mixed with anticipation. The heavens seem vast, mysterious, as stars twinkle above like ancient eyes watching over the world. This is a common language, one deep inside, a conversation between the earth beneath their feet and the expansive sky above. Without speaking, they feel connected to a time beyond their own, a unity that transcends the boundaries of age and understanding. Old maps are dusted off, their edges frayed and lines faded, but no less important. These maps hold tales too, journeys once taken, places discovered and renamed, and paths walked by feet that have long since danced their last. Yet each path feels alive, winding not just across terrain but through the hearts of those who dare to explore. There's a sense of longing to follow those trails, to discover what they might lead to on the brink of such change. A young girl named Leela sits with her grandfather, her eyes wide with wonder as he tells her of before. Not recently, but long, long before. His words are soft, his manner gentle, and she feels them touch something inside her like ripples across a still pond. She asks small, thoughtful questions, her mind eager and questioning, and he answers with as much as he can remember, trying to weave the old tales into something she can hold on to. The sun sets each night with a lavish display of colors, painting the horizon with a glory that feels like both an end and a beginning. People gather to watch each sunset, a little miracle that whispers of continuity and change all in one. They share quiet words, a touch on the shoulder here, a hug. They're all carrying the unsaid hope that they might remember this glow even when everything else transforms. The animals sense the shift too. Birds begin to migrate with an urgency not explained by mere weather. Their flight patterns mark invisible trails in the skies, almost forming characters in a language unknown to those on the earth below. Foxes and deer move briskly under cover of night, acting out a drama unseen and yet deeply felt. Amidst all this change, time seems to move strangely. Some days fly by, while others stretch lazily, as if they know their moments are numbered. It's a dance of hours that feels more real, more poignant than ever before. People start to take note of the little things they once overlooked. Each petal, each snowflake, each note of laughter as it rings out like a bell in this soon-to-shift world. In the quiet moments just before dawn, when the world pauses and breathes before the new sun rises, something else stirs. A sense of understanding, almost like awakening from a dream. It feels as if, for the first time, the earth itself is whispering to those who walk upon it, urging them to listen. And in this listening, in this moment of unity with all that surrounds them, they find comfort, a realization that while things may change, the journey itself is eternal, flowing onward evermore. Chapter 9. The Next Genesis. Imagine if every 12,000 years, everything we know resets. The world goes back to the start. All people, animals, and places are wiped away, and something new begins. This idea is like a story we tell ourselves around the campfire, a thought that makes you wonder and maybe worry a little bit. Let's picture how this might begin. It happens quietly at first, without anyone even noticing. Just like how the sun rises slowly in the morning, this reset doesn't come with a big show or a loud noise. People might wake up one day and feel like things are a little different, but they can't quite put their finger on what has changed. Maybe the air feels fresher, or the sky looks a little more blue dot. As time goes on, folks start to notice bigger changes. Animals that seemed to be gone forever make their way back. A bird thought to be extinct suddenly shows up in flocks, and a small furry creature that was only talked about in old books scurries across the fields. The earth seems to be bringing back what was lost, like it's going through a memory and retrieving things forgotten long ago. People begin to feel this change too. There are whispers about dreams that feel more real, stories that come to mind without anyone telling them before. Children start to hum tunes that were last heard thousands of years ago. It's like the world is guiding everyone back to an old way of being. Communities listen to the rhythm of nature, finding their lives guided by the sun and the moon. There are no worries about what was. Instead, there is a focus on what is now and what could be. The differences that once mattered so much to everyone, like the color of one's skin or the language spoken, seem less important. People come together to share what they have, looking out for one another, without the distractions of the past world. Where everyone rushed around, people now have time to learn, play, and really see what matters. They farm new lands, build homes with their hands, and grow food that fills their bellies with warmth. There is a deep sense of satisfaction in doing things on their own, at a pace set by the seasons. Children, the new explorers of this fresh world, play games to discover its wonders. They jump over streams, climb the tallest trees, and pretend they're great adventurers on a journey into the unknown. They open their eyes wide to the stories of old, passed down to them, keeping the past alive in their games and dreams. Older generations, the keepers of knowledge, gather everyone to share tales of how things were before. They teach others about survival, about growing food, and cherishing the simple joys of life. The wisdom from thousands of years past becomes a guide for making each day better in this new world. This reset is a chance to begin anew for all living things, and nature knows it. Flowers bloom in places once thought barren, and trees grow tall and strong, reaching for the sky as if they had been waiting for this moment. Rivers that dried up long ago find their flow again, bringing life to everywhere they touch. Technology, something that had consumed the last era, isn't lost but is transformed. Instead of screens and metals, the knowledge of creating and inventing awakens still. People find ways to use what the earth gives them, making things that help rather than harm. This new approach leads to a beautiful balance where nature and the creations of the mind work together. The world's landscapes shift softly, opening hidden valleys and uncovering treasures the earth has kept safe. People who once knew only endless cityscapes now gaze upon fields of gold, mountains that stretch beyond sight, and oceans that sing to them. Each corner of the world seems to invite exploration, whispering secrets of ages gone by. Together, through smaller and larger communities, humans form connections that feel timeless. They share stories around warm fires, laugh into the night, and dream of what they can build tomorrow. Music fills the air with tunes that resonate in the heart, bringing everyone together, reminding them of their shared humanity. And so, life carries on in this reset world. Each day offers new chances to grow, learn, and love. There is a sense that although everything resets, the essence of what makes us who we are stays. It becomes a journey filled with hope and mystery, guided by voices of the past and dreams of the future. Through it all, the simplicity of being part of a vast, ever-renewing cycle brings comfort and wonder. As everyone steps forward into the unknown. Chapter 10: Time's Grand Illusion. Imagine a world where everything starts all over again every 12,000 years. It sounds like a story from a fairy tale or a movie, but what if that was real? Think about all those years passing and then, poof, everything resets and we get to start again. It's like a huge clock that keeps its secret rhythm, ticking away quietly while we live our lives in this world. You would find people just like us, living their lives, growing up, making friends, and exploring dreams. They would not know about the restart. Imagine if every new civilization never realized they were the latest chapter in an ancient book that rewrites itself every so often. That's quite a thought, isn't it? So, let's dive into what this strange reset might feel like. At first, everything would seem normal. People would be working, playing, and just going about their daily lives. Children would learn to read and write, and adults would be busy with their jobs or enjoying quiet evenings at home. Nobody would think for a moment that there was anything unusual about the world. But, as time goes on, something curious happens. People start feeling a strange connection to things they've never experienced. Someone might touch a piece of an ancient wall and feel familiar, even though it was built long before they were born. Another might dream of a sky that looks very different from the one they know, filled with stars that shine in new patterns. These feelings are like whispers from the past, small hints trying to break through the fog of time. Yet, nobody connects these whispers to the idea of a reset. It's as if we all have pieces of a vast puzzle, but we don't even know there's a puzzle to be solved. As years pass, the world changes, as it always does. New ideas take root, inventions spark changes, just like they do today. People look forward, excited about what's to come, always building on the past without knowing that this cycle started long ago. Every generation wonders about their history, digging up ruins and reading old texts left behind by people who came before them. These past voices echo through time, and each time around, people try to learn from them. Can you imagine they see the same rise and fall of great cities, the same stories of heroes and leaders repeating themselves? What's fascinating is that the reset allows for endless possibilities. In one cycle, a civilization might thrive on music and art, while in another, technology and science might take the stage. The stage is the same, but the actors change, and each story, though familiar, is entirely new. Through all this, the mystery of the clock that controls these resets stays hidden. But what if, one day, someone discovers a clue, a message carved into stone or an ancient book that somehow survives, revealing a truth no one knew? Let's imagine a group of curious minds, perhaps a scientist alongside a philosopher, and maybe even an artist. They stumble upon hints of this mystery, piece by piece. They gather around ancient sites, discussing theories, connecting visions. At first, no one believes them. Such stories sound like myths or legends, tales to tell around a campfire, not facts to guide our understanding of reality. But slowly, as more pieces of evidence appear, more people begin to listen. What would such a revelation mean to us? Would it make us fearful, knowing our lives are part of a cycle, or would it inspire us to make the most of our time, knowing it is both finite and eternal in this curious dance? Maybe, just maybe, learning such a secret could unite people like never before. With the knowledge that time itself is not as straightforward as it seems, we might choose to focus on what truly matters, like kindness, curiosity, and the love that we share with each other in this world. Where time resets, life remains a beautiful, vivid tapestry. Each thread is unique, yet they all weave together into something timeless and profound. Who knows? Maybe the magic of this endless loop is that it shows us how precious each moment is, encouraging us to cherish every second until time's gentle hand sweeps it clean once more.